Yeats as a Modern Poet continued, Volume 2. Now, let us analyze some of his poems individually to trace out modern elements. The Second Coming. The Second Coming is a superb example of Yeats says modernism, as in his poem. Yeats portrays the modern chaotic and disordered condition after World War the First, and the poet tends to escape from the situation. The very beginning lines of the poem represent the chaotic situation of the modern world, turning and turning in the widening gyre. The falcon cannot hear the falconer, things fall apart, the center cannot hold, mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The first image with which we are presented in the poem is an image of disaster. A falcon cannot hear the call of safety and begins to spiral wider and wider, more out of control. The falcon, which represents civilization, is no longer in a position to listen to intellect. The center is unable to hold its own. As a result, things are falling apart, and what results from this disintegration is a kind of complete anarchy, bringing along with it a lot of bloodshed. Such disordered condition also affects the religion that Yeats believes. Much chaos has entered in Christianity, as it has lost its effect, and now it is about to end. The good people, sadly, sadly lack conviction, while the bad pursue their wicked ends. With wicked ends, this coming prophet will be the prophet of destruction. You see that such disordered condition has affected the religion that Yeats believes. Much chaos has entered in Christianity, as it has lost its effect and now it is about to end. This is a kind of prediction. This is the vision. The second coming is at hand. The second coming is resurrection, as it is depicted in the Bible, the rebirth of Jesus Christ. The rebirth of Jesus Christ. The falcon symbolizes intellectual power, has got free of the control of the falconer, representing the heart or soul. Yet in Yeats's poem, there is no place for old things. Yeats sees old age as a symbol of the tyranny of time. Rage against the limitations of age and society upon an old man occurs frequently in his poetry. In Among School Children, he considers himself a comfortable scarecrow. The heart becomes comprehending. Unfortunately attached to a dying animal in the tower, yet calls the aged body an absurdity. In the poem Prayer for My Daughter, Yeats is ever so worried with the present disordered situation and moreover the upcoming dangerous future that is near to the next generation. And this poem, Yeats wishes to his daughter some abstract qualities with those she will be able to face the upcoming challenges of future. In this poem, Yeats's prayer is not only for his daughter but also for all people of future generation. In Easter 1916, Yeats's sense of humanism is seen, which is another modern trait in literature. The horrible effects of war cast a gloomy shadow on the poetic sensibility of the modern poets. The sad realities of life paved the way of humanitarian aspect in modern literature. Yeats's poetry also abounds in humanism. In this poem, he feels even for his rifle, he says, he had done most bitter wrong to some who are near my heart. Yeats, Yeats's use of symbols is another modern trait in his poetry. Which is complex and rich. He is the chief representative of the symbolist movement. He draws his symbols from Irish folklore and mythology, philosophy, metaphysics, occult, magic, paintings, and drawings. Several allusions are compressed into a single symbol. His symbols are all pervasive key symbols. His key symbols: rose, swan, and Helen. Thus, on the basis of our above discussion, we can rightly say that Yeats is one of those celebrated modern poets who flourished in the beginning of the 20th century and created their own style of poetry in order to show their dissatisfaction with the world. W.B. Yeats is regarded as not only the most important Irish poet, but also one of the most important poets of modern age. His poems have been such as the examples of modern literature. In his poems, we find astounding variety, political note, realism, religion, mysticism, and so on. And all these matters have made him a true modern poet. However, his greatest period is generally said to have begun with the publication of The Wild Swans at Cool in 1919, and by the end of his career he was ranked along with Ezra Pound and T.S. Eliot as a foremost modern poet. Like many of the canonical modernist writers, the work of W.B. Yeats represents the paradox of a longing for the past and vision for the future. Bradbury and Macfarlane in 1991, Cantor 1988. Whether it be the revision of America's political past in the form of whether it be the revision of America's political past whether it be the revision of America's political past in the form of Ezra Pound's John Adams Cantor's Pound 1986 or T.S. Eliot's revisiting of a Christian theological past in the form of his Ariel poems, Eliot 1989. Modernism constantly sought to find a future from the traditional past. As Hugh Kennard says of Eliot, these poems exhaust tradition, or as much of the tradition as lay within the compass of their author's purpose. William Butler Yeats, in his poem The Second Coming, speaks or predicts about the future of Ireland and its people after the First World War, when the whole world got shattered because of the destructions. The people hoped for peace and hoped that Christ would come back for their salvation. Instead, a sphinx-like figure with a lion body and the head of a man emerges, which can be another form of destruction coming towards people since its birth, because it has the rocking cradle. W.B. Yeats, in his poem An Irish Airman Foresees His Death, speaks about an Irish soldier's dilemma. The soldier, being a patriot, can neither take a back step on the battlefield nor does he want to harm his own people. He has no love for the people whom he has to protect, but loves the people against whom he has to use the weapons. The parallel structure in the poem enhances the dilemma of the soldier and makes it more specific to the readers. The repetition of the words in the lines of parallelism makes an idea or argument more specific and clear. Yeats's poem, The Lake Isle of Innisfree, depicts the poet's longing for peace and happiness which he misses in the urban setting. He wants to escape from the noises of the city and craves for the silence and melodious sounds of nature in Innisfree. He wants to return to nature and explore the beauty of it, which he cannot do while residing in critics. Thank you. Thank you for careful listening to my lecture. Thank you.